Hello everyone and welcome to Bevan's Builds. Excuse the poor lighting, I'm trying to get as much light as I can. But anyway, today's video is going to be about insulating the Lego barn. Anyway, as you can see here, I bought a whole bunch. As a matter of fact, it's 36 bundles of R19 faced 2x6 insulation. Now, to discuss that real quick, the reason I'm buying faced insulation is anytime you have building a space and you are going to insulate, you want to have faced insulation, and the faced insulation is going to be facing the portion of the room that's heated. So with that, keeping that in mind, what you're going to be doing is when I put up the insulation in here, the paper is going to be facing the inside of the room, the heated space, and we're going to be stapling to those 2x4s. Again, this is an R19. R19 is for 2x6 walls. Each one of these bundles is 48.9 square feet. So I bought 36 of these because I'm going to be insulating 1,800 square feet of space. So I have a lot of insulation to do. And this is strictly, all this insulation that you see here is strictly for the walls. The ceiling, I will be doing blow-in on it once I get the ceiling installed. But anyway, I just wanted to quickly discuss the insulation factors. Now, if the walls were only built with 2x4s, a standard building like your house, for example, you would use an R13, and that is for a 2x4 wall. The R19 is a little more expensive. Me personally, I wanted as much insulative value in my building as I could, as this will be a building that will be heated constantly, being this is going to be used as my hobby space. So I went ahead and paid the extra price for the R19. Something else I want to point out, I do have a link on Amazon for the exact insulation that I'm using here, and I'll be putting that in the description of this video below. But where I actually purchased my insulation was through Lowe's. And the reason is because that was actually cheaper, currently right now anyway. And the reason that was cheaper is because at Lowe's, if you buy more than 20 bundles, again I have 36, you get 30% off. So all this insulation only cost me $632 if I remember correctly. So it was a really good bargain as opposed to the 900 and something it was originally going to cost me. And I'm fortunate enough that I do have a truck and I have a trailer, so I went and picked it up myself and avoided the $75 fee to have it dropped off at my house as well. So anyway, let's go ahead and start opening up some of this insulation and show you how I'm going to install it. The other thing I do want to point out is I will be using this Arrow PT50 stapler. And I'm going to be using these T50 staples, which is for the Arrow PT50 stapler. And these are 1/4 inch, and I know the lighting is horrible in here, I apologize. These are 1/4 inch thick. You don't need to have a really thick staple because I'm only stapling paper to the wall. So again, that's why I'm only using a 1/4 inch staple. So it's a 6mm staple. What I originally had was these T50 and they're 1/2 inch, but like I said, a 1/2 inch to me is too long, and originally I had an old Craftsman staple gun, it's electric. I actually prefer using pneumatic. It seems like they work a bit better. And while we're on the subject of the pneumatic, what it is I am using a central pneumatic air compressor. It's an electric air compressor, and that will be what's powering up my staple gun. Again, I have a preference personally with pneumatic tools. So I'm going ahead and going with that. I have this particular air compressor that I use for small jobs like I'm doing today, and I have a much larger one that's in my garage. It's actually a older Craftsman. I believe it's a 5-horse and it's a 30-gallon, but that's when I'm doing more mechanical things. But I'll be putting links in the description of this video and such below as well if you're interested in using this particular air compressor. The reason I typically buy central pneumatic, it's something you can buy. Like I said, I do have links on it for Amazon, and it's very cheap at Amazon. But you can also, if you have a Harbor Freight anywhere near you, you can buy that at Harbor Freight as well. As far as this Arrow staple gun, I wished I'd have bought it on Amazon because I found out that it was actually cheaper on Amazon than it was at Lowe's, which is where I bought mine today. I bought mine at Lowe's for, I believe it was $42. But on Amazon, I think right now it's $38. So I kind of messed up on $4 there, but no big deal. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the installation. And now let's try and hang a little insulation. The only other tool you're going to need is some type of box cutter. And that is because, like the rolls that I bought, for example, they come in 48, or it's actually 49, something like that, foot lengths. So as you roll it up, once you get it to length, you cut it at the bottom. What I usually like to do is push it into the wood and then give it a slick cut. Something else I do want to point out, I don't know if I said it yet already or not. Anytime you're going to use your air nailer, or actually not air nailer, air stapler, you want to make sure that you put at least 1 drop of oil in it before use. All pneumatic tools should be lubricated before use. Typically, because like with me, what I'll do is I'll start the job whenever during the day. I'll put 1 drop of oil before I start working, and I'll work through the day with just that 1 drop of oil. And then tomorrow, when I come back out here and do some more work, I'll put another drop of oil in it. Anyway, let me put that to the side. I'm sorry if it's not super good on the sound. I'm trying to speak a little loudly. I do still have a bit of an echo. I do already have some insulation up. 2 things I want to point out. There's 2 ways to put insulation up. Because when you have insulation and you have the face, which is what this is called, is face, it's only faced on one side. Again, this is just the fabric on this side. You always want the paper to the heated space. But there's 2 ways you can staple it. You can either push it on and staple it on the front of the 2x4, or you can do like what I'm doing, which is stapling it on the inside of the 2x4. Now, the reason that I typically will staple my insulation onto the inside of the 2x4 like that is because when I put up drywall or wood or whatever I'm going to use for my wall, in my case, I'm probably going to be using drywall. I like to put liquid nails up. And I do that for a couple reasons. One, when you're doing drywall, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold still. When you're doing drywall, it helps to keep the drywall from shifting. It makes it more structurally rigid, and it also prevents cracks. So again, to me, I staple to the inside, but like I said, some people do staple to the outside as well. But let's go ahead and pull this up. What I'll do is I take it, I put the roll facing the wall, so as I pull it, it just unrolls. And I set it in there, kind of push it in place. When I come down to the bottom, I'll unroll it a little bit more. Push it a little more into place. Then I take my staple gun, push my ladder up so I can get to it easily. And if the air compressor kicks on, I apologize. Something else I do want to point out, you should wear a respirator. Even though I know I'm not. But you should also wear gloves. Let me get this stapled and start. Now you'll see by stapling it to the inside, it goes rather quickly. And I just ran out of staples. Isn't that how everything goes? Let me grab some staples. What I typically do is I take my thumb and just kind of run it along the paper as I'm going, and I shoot a staple every so often. You should staple, in my opinion, at least every 12 inches. Me, because I have the staple gun, I kind of get a little crazy with it. I do probably every 6 to 12, is what I would say on average. Now that we got that, I'll move the ladder out of the way. Make sure that's still front. Take my box cutter, put it down here on the floor. And again, I push it against the 2x4, and then what I do is I press the box blade right against it. Get a nice smooth cut, and I can roll that out of the way and take my staple gun and come back and finish stapling. And it's that easy. You just got to do the whole pole barn now. Anyway, again, that was just a quick video on how to run insulation in your pole barn. Hope you got some helpful tips from that. Again, R19 because I'm using a 2x6 wall. You're going to use R13 if you're using a 2x4 wall. I do recommend using a respirator. Me personally, I don't get itchy from messing with the stuff. I'll even work with it with my bare hands, but I don't recommend it. So anyway, as always, thanks for coming to Bevan's Builds. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share below. And we'll see you next time on Bevan's Builds.